Oh wow.
I like that though. Little
Yeah.
bossa,
Oh that. Yeah.
little
Little
bossa nova
kickback on
type
some.
stuff.
Yeah. What's happening, party people out there? We're back. This is, of course, the Underway Podcast. I am one of your hosts, the Golden Voice, the People's Choice, Mike Hicks, and my lovely loquacious co-host is also here. Knock yourself out, brother.
What's up, party people? This is the co-host, partner to the Golden Voice, the People's Choice, Michael Hicks. I'm your other host, Donald Anderson, aka Don D, aka Chunky A, aka. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe to the Underway Podcast here on YouTube and on Spotify. Thank you all for tuning in on this most beautiful northeastern Friday night.
A little cool up this way, man.
Same,
It's nice fire pit weather right now.
yeah.
That's fire pit weather right now. I mean, if I wasn't doing this podcast, which is so much more important than building a fire, I'd be out in the
Mhm.
backyard with a little glass of cognac, sitting
Yeah.
by that fire, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, definitely cool. This morning it was like 50, and it was a nice chilly, dew covered grass 50. So fall is upon us, and of course, it coincides with football season. So I really like fall. It's probably my second favorite season, actually, after summer, of course. But fall, depending on how you like to dress, I love fall dressing. Now you can throw on some of your light wools, some of your scarves, things like that. I love dressing in the fall, man. Pea coats and you know what I mean. Yeah, yeah, I love it. I
Yes,
love it.
sir. Break out the Tims. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
The nice
absolutely.
the nice what we call that, the cabbie hats, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the
I
apple.
love
What do we call them?
yeah. Like my man, what
Yeah,
was that comic guy that used to wear them all the time? Remember the
Andy
comic on
Cap.
Andy Cap? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He wore that was called a newsboy cap.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Newsboy. Yep, newsboy
Yeah,
cap.
them things is
Mm-hmm.
cold, boy. I love it. You know what I mean? And that's what's
Mm-hmm.
so great about living back here in the Northeast. We get all the four seasons, so that's the best part. Yeah, it's nice to be out in California and Arizona and Texas, where y'all out there. Our brothers that are out there, and some of our listeners. But there ain't nothing like being in the Northeast. The Northeast is awesome because we get to experience all four seasons and really, enjoy them to the full. So that's what I love about being up here. So just like you, I love the fall. I love that nice, crisp fall air. You wake up in the morning, it's just something about the
Yeah,
air. It just smells good. You know what I mean? It's like the apples
absolutely.
and the pumpkins, and I don't know, there's something about that spice. Something about the
Yeah, and
fall, brother.
the
Yeah,
leaves turning, all the
yeah,
beautiful colors, like you go down the expressway or something
yeah.
on the interstate, man, to see all the golds and the reds and oh man. Yeah, so you're right, man. I believe, like I said, when we were in California, leaving the East Coast when we were stationed there, of course it was like, oh, this is the best, this is the best. But when it came Thanksgiving, it was still 75, 80 degrees. When it came Christmas, it was still 75. We're not accustomed to that. And I never got used to that. I never got used to seeing Santa in shorts. You know what I mean? I just never got used to that. So yeah, the four seasons, there's on wherever you live in this country, there's a little something for everybody that they can dig or not dig. Now don't get me wrong, I don't like just the Buffalo winters, I don't like. I am not a fan. I don't ski. I don't snowmobile. I don't like the shovel. I don't like the snow blow. I don't like anything about snow. The older you get, the less use, of course, you have for it. But we did say four seasons, correct?
So
Comes with it, right? Comes with the territory. So
yeah, it's just it's one of the things you deal with. Sometimes it's like, well, at least down here, it's like crap. Some years you're gonna get killed with the snow, and other years, like the last couple, we really haven't gotten hit with a serious snowstorm probably like since I don't know, I want to say 2017, 2018, something like that. So
hmm
we don't get hit every year with snow. We're not like y'all. Y'all get that lake effect snow and all that crap up here because you right off Lake Erie. So
But do you
naturally,
know
you're
why? Do you know why scientifically some snows are worse than others because you live next to a lake?
why?
It's all about freezing or not
Mm,
freezing. Okay, so when the lake and you have what you call a warmer condensation winter, the lake doesn't freeze. So of course, the moisture goes up in the air, meets the stuff coming down, accumulation of snow. There have been times we have really bitterly cold winters when the lake has frozen, so you'll get frigid temperatures, but you won't as get as much accumulation. You know, so that's what I prefer. If the lake freezes, we're in for basically a really mild winter as far as snow is concerned. But if the
Hmm.
lake doesn't freeze at any time, the northern winds coming off of Canada can disrupt something, man. And then we got what you saw last year. You know, horrible, the absolute worst that I've ever seen, and that's saying a lot for somebody who lived through the blizzard of '77. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough to deal with, man, especially as many lives that were lost in this last storm, right around Christmas, no less. So it was very bad. I didn't dig that. Worst I've ever seen, hands down. And a lot of Buffalo natives will tell you that.
Yeah, there was a lot of crazy stories that came out of there this year. One that I saw was in particular, I think it was a young lady. I think she was, I don't know, I believe she was getting off work or whatever the case may be, on her
Yeah,
way to
man.
home, and she just passed away in her car. So
Because she
that
didn't, yeah, it was so bad she didn't know
unbelievable.
where she was going. She couldn't see anything. You understand? You know how horrifying that must have been, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
To see I mean, you can't see anything, Don. We talking
Mm,
about whiteouts, man. That thing was, listen, praise the Lord, man. I was in the house. Me and Princess were here, refrigerator full of groceries, a bar full of adult beverages for me. And our mom and wife was safe at her hospital. She went to work that morning. When me and the dog walked her out, it was about 5 a.m. and it was 38 degrees and it was drizzling slightly.
mm,
They called for snow, but it didn't seem like, a snow type event. And then, of course, I went back to bed. I woke up around 9 o'clock in the morning, and the house, you know how it is in the Northeast. When it's snowing outside, your house gets lit up inside. It's really white. Everything's bright, so you knew it was snowing. And I looked out the window, and everything was kind of just blowing. Okay, been there, done that. No big deal.
hmm.
Had a little breakfast because I just had shoulder surgery, mind you. So had some breakfast, went back to sleep, took some medication, went back to sleep, woke up. Down when I looked out the window, first of all, I couldn't see across the street,
Mm,
and it was still blowing in the same direction. So they said that storm was so wind driven that only 30% of the snow that fell was actually precipitation. The rest was snow that was blown from somewhere else. So that's why you got a 7-foot drift in your
mm,
driveway, and then you can see concrete at the end of it.
wow.
So imagine that throughout the city, in the middle of streets, things like that. So everything was, just ground to a halt. So it's terrible, man. It was absolutely terrible, the worst I've ever seen. But praise the Lord, none of uh, my family was lost to it. Everybody was safe and sound at home, or the smart ones have already relocated to places like Tampa and things like that. But they get hurricanes, so I don't know how. You know, it's something for everybody everywhere, like I mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like if you live out in California, you get the forest fires or the brush fires that running people out of their
Earthquakes,
house, earthquakes, freaking landslides, or even beautiful Hawaii. And
yeah,
Maui was burning up. And people,
wow.
I was looking at video of that you had people actually jumping into the ocean to escape the fires. It was
Can you
insane,
imagine that,
dude.
man?
Yeah,
Can you
it's
imagine
insane,
that?
man.
And
It's
what I
crazy.
find astounding, Don, is especially somewhere like when yeah, did you go to Hawaii when we were?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Went to Pearl
you
Harbor
s-
twice.
right. So you've seen how lush and green it is. It's
Beautiful.
not like it's some, you know what I mean? It's not like California is very dry. We know that,
Hmm.
so a forest fire's capability there is very high. But when you go somewhere lush, and even like, remember the wildfires we were having out of Canada? Canada is a green, moist, northern country. So where do these forest fires come from, man? I mean, not a conspiracy dude, but man, I'm telling you, you have to wonder sometimes, man. You
Yeah,
really do.
it does make one wonder, man. Like how does this stuff happen?
Right.
And I guess a lot of it has to do with climate and climate change and all of those things. But
Allegedly.
allegedly, we can say that allegedly. But
Allegedly.
I don't think we have any verifiable proof. What you over there sipping on, bro? What you sipping on? Look good. What is that? That's
Oh,
some
that's the black lady.
that's that. I was gonna say he always sipping on something, y'all.
Yeah, that's Hennessy VSOP.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
one of one of the drinks me and a good friend used to share all the time.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Cheers to you, man. Cheers to you, and raise a glass to you, my brother. Hope you had a good week, and I'm as Mike has said in the past, and as you have said in the past, Mike. Friday nights are certainly different, man. So this is like a new thing to look forward to for me, and I like doing the Wednesday podcast. I don't know, but it's something about a Friday podcast that just seems to be, it seems to be right. It seems to be like, okay, this is a good night to do it
You're
because we get,
tying up the week, man.
yeah, we just
You're
wrapping
putting
it
a bow
up and
on it. Putting a bow on it, man.
absolutely, man. And it's
Yeah,
just like, for those of us that are out here working still, Mike works, but it's just something about a Friday night, man. As you get older, it's just
yeah.
like to me, it's like probably the best day of the week now. Not like a Friday, man. Nothing like it.
I agree. I
Get
agree.
the end of the work week, and it's all right.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
how was your week overall? We want to start off talking about our week in review. Just like for you personally, how was your week? What'd you get into? I know you're back in school, so how's that been?
It's been good. I'm
Mm-hmm.
a co-teacher with another uh teacher, and I think we make a good team just based on the fact that his teaching style is different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of things that he may run into as far as a roadblock with the children, and I'll be able to jump in, or if there's something that needs deeper explanation, he's able to jump in. So I think we transfer quite often, and it works pretty well. We're dealing with emotional issue children, and our goal is to, and he and I discussed that the first day we met. Our goal is to get our children out of those quote special classes and into what we call the big classes.
Mm-hmm.
That's our goal, is to bring up their scores scholastically, and the social skills and things like that, so they can actually go and become a part of the regular or big school. I don't like to say regular because they're not irregular, but I think you know what I'm saying. They go into the how can I put it? The
Well, we
standard,
yeah
the
we
standard school population.
yeah, not to interrupt you, but when I was in those classes back in the day, we called that mainstream. So
Okay,
it
cool.
was always like
Mainstream, right?
the idea was to get mainstream back into like history,
Into the
math,
world, back
whatever.
into the world. You're
Yeah,
right,
back
right. I
exactly
got you.
like getting
I got
paroled.
you. Exactly. And like I said, I think that since we are on the same page, I think it'll be an effective duo because he doesn't strike me as a paycheck teacher. You know what I mean? He's not there just to collect the money and waiting until retirement and things like that. He's actually you see that he loves to teach, and I love to teach as well. So I think we make a good team. A few things we have to work out that I have to talk to him about. Um, some of the things that he says that kind of rub me the wrong way, only
Mm,
because I'm the age I am.
mm-hmm.
Okay. For instance, he says boy a lot, you
Mm.
know, you know what I mean?
No, we don't do
So,
that.
right. So I will be addressing that Monday, before the children come in.
So if you don't
Because
mind, just like give me an example of how he might use that in a sentence.
well, man, how'd you do that, boy? That's the wrong thing, stuff like that.
No, no, we
White
don't do
man,
that, bro.
white man, white man.
We don't
Okay.
do that, bro.
So um, I sat there and kind of just wanted to see how frequent it would come out, So it came out enough to, for me that I'll say something to him Monday morning because I addressed him as gentleman and young man, young man, come here, young man. Let me talk to you, so that's what I do. Uh, and this dude's only 2 years older than me, but he's also not a Buffalo City resident.
Mm.
He's from somewhere else near
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, i.e., a white community. You dig
Okay.
what I'm saying? So, but he does, he has worked in the city schools, so he's not unfamiliar. But I'm sure having an assistant like me is new territory for him, and he'll soon find that out because I object to that type of language towards the children in general, not just because they're black children and not just because they're boys, but because they should be addressed as young men, young woman, man. And that's how we do it. I come in the room, they're making noise, gentlemen. That's enough.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down. You understand? They don't even hear the gentleman. They just hear me saying, cut it out. You understand? But nonetheless, I just didn't find that tasty. So I will be speaking to him Monday morning, and I'm sure he won't have a problem with it.
Yeah, no doubt. That's something that we can't do that. And as a teacher's assistant, teacher's aide, that's your job to correct him. You come to people with respect, which I'm sure you will, and I'm sure he'll be able to handle that, and that'll help him in the future because that'll let him know. Because reality is somebody might not be
Everybody's not going to react the same
as
to
nice
that.
as you are. They might go straight to the school board or straight to the principal. They'd be like, "Listen, this dude keep calling these kids boys, and I don't like it, and I
And
think it's
especially in these times we live, dude.
100%, bro.
And I'm not trying to see anybody lose their job over
Nah,
something
like
that
that.
that right. And that's not it may be insignificant to
That's
him.
correctable.
It's correctable. And to me, I just don't like the way it sounds, and I'm not going to be subject to that every day without me speaking on it.
Hmm.
Okay, because if there's something that I do or I say or what I how I teach, if you don't like it, speak on it, man. I don't have a problem with that. We're here to help the kids. I don't my skin is thick. If you have something to say to me, say what you have to say, man. You know. So military, blue collar plant working for 32 years, it ain't too much a teacher can say to me that's gonna hurt my feelings.
Yeah, and the reality is, listen, bro, that's why you're there.
That's
You're
right.
there. That's why God put you in that position so that
That's
you
right.
can be there to correct those things. Because hey, if you weren't there, maybe another person might not be as attuned to those kind of words. They might not, their ears might not percolate when they hear something like that. And the reality is also these young men and women that are in your class, they hear that too. So we don't
Yeah.
want them to be addressed as boy.
No.
That's not the move right there. We're not gonna do
No.
that. So
No.
yeah, go
And I
ahead, bro.
understand where he's coming from, being 58 years old, they're 10 years old. I get it. They're children, but you can use child. I'm fine with
Yes.
that. You can use child.
Let's say
But
young man and young woman. Excuse me,
like
young
I
man. What's
said,
what's what's the question, young man? What's the answer, young man?
that's what
Young
I
lady.
do.
What's the question, young lady?
Yeah. When I'm doing lunch
I
duty,
mean, what am I
table
gonna
full of
say?
girls.
I ain't
Yeah,
never gonna say boy.
ladies.
Boy, what'd you say,
No.
boy?
Yeah,
Come on,
that kind
dog.
of stuff.
Come on now.
That kind of stuff.
Come on now.
So yeah, I will be addressing that
Ain't no way.
because like I said, man, in my advanced age, I've learned to just kind of be proactive instead of reactive. So I sat back, and kind of just took a mental account of that habit. So today was like, okay, it started to bother me today. So it's like, guess what? Monday is the day. You know what I mean? Because I will not come in here again and be bothered by that. So we'll have that conversation Monday. No
Good,
problem.
good. That's what's up, man. So
Hmm.
that's good. So that seems like your week was filled with your school experiences. Seem like the kids haven't driven you crazy. Don't look like you have any new gray hairs. You look like you're doing okay. So that's good.
Yeah, man.
Not stressed. That's good.
Yeah. Because you have to, it's a labor of love for me. And when the kids know that, it's a stress-free environment.
Yeah.
When they truly know that I'm there for them to make them better, you got your knuckleheads, but that's society in general. But overall, when I'm walking the halls and hey, Mr. Hicks, hey, good morning, this and that, so that stuff is important, man. It's very
Absolutely, dog.
important because there may not be a man to say good morning to them, and I'm the first man that they see that looks like them that says good morning to them with a smile and a
Hmm.
handshake or, a high five or what have you. So it's very important to me, excuse me, this work that I'm doing now. And I'm trying to get my heaven points up.
That's good. And it's funny when you talk about your interactions with the kids, in school for you. It reminds me of my days, on a different route. For people out there that don't know, or you might be new to the show, I'm a mailman, letter carrier. And I used to really be in the city, walking the streets. I have a different route now where it's mostly out in a suburb area. But I do miss those days when I was in the city walking. I remember we used to have this one kid. I think his name was either Jameer or Amir. But every day, I remember the first time I got out there on the route, and this young boy was waiting on me. I was like, yo, why ain't you with your mom or your dad or something? He said, no, he said, I walk with a mailman. That's what I do. So, and sure enough, every day I was out there, here he come, just on his block. And then when we got to the end of the block, there was like a little corner store there. And he said, now you're supposed to buy me an ice cream cone. I said, huh? I said,
Yeah, I'll walk
"What
with you,
you got a
dude.
little flim flam thing going here, young man? What's up with this?" So I looked at the
Pay me
person.
for my labor. Yeah,
Yeah, but it was cool because
yeah,
I seen where he was coming from, and I seen how with his situation, so I didn't mind. And so, and I come to find out that the regular on the route used to do that every day with him, took him for a walk. So I said, well, listen, I'll keep it going. Ain't no thing. And, it's just one of them things that I do miss about being in those inner city routes is like you get a chance to talk to people every day. You get a chance to really be inside the community. When you're out on these suburban routes where you do more riding, you don't really get as much chance to get to know people like that. But when you're like walking up to their house every day, seeing them, pulling open their front door, putting the mail in there, a package, whatever it is, you really get a chance to, get to know people, get to know the community. And, it's something that I really do miss. Now, every now and then, there's a few people out on my route now that I get a chance to talk to, but it's not like being in the city. Not like that
not the
city.
same.
Yeah,
Not the
that
same
true city
energy.
delivery is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's different. It's
Hmm.
different, man. It's just like
Hmm.
the energy's different, man. It's just almost like it's kind of like what you would draw up, When I was a kid, I had a couple uncles that were mailmen, and I would say that's one of the things that made me want to do the job. My uncle Beanie was like the most pleasant guy in the world as a mail letter. Always was smiling, always was happy. Whole city knew him, and I said, man, what kind of job does he have where he's always smiling, always happy, always in a good mood? I said, man, I need to do something like that when I get to be, older. I think I want to do that. And then so I found out that's what his job was. He made good money, lived in a nice
Hmm.
house.
Hmm.
Him and my Aunt Judy, his wife was my mother's sister. And they came up in a nice little neighborhood. They always reminded me kind of like the Huxtables, because they're just the way they were, nice resident black family. She was
Yeah,
like a
just
Claire
classy people,
Huxtable.
man. Right, just
Yeah,
classy people, nice people, pleasant
yeah.
people who seem to be doing very well. So that's
This
that's a yeah, it's a nice thing.
when I was like, I can remember like as early as like 5, 6 years old, when Aunt Judy came to the house, first thing she wanted to ask you, what are you gonna do when you get out of school? I'm like, Aunt Judy, I'm like 5. I'm 6 years old, Aunt Judy. I don't know what I want to play with some toys. Let me get my Tonka trucks and my Legos.
What you mean? Get out of school this summer?
She ain't
What you
trying to
talking
hear
about?
it. She said, what you
Right.
trying to do? And her daughter, she got them in Upward Bound. I don't know if you had that up in Buffalo?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
bro, had
yeah.
them kids in Upward Bound. So her daughter wanted to be a nurse, and now my cousin Candace is a nurse, RN,
Hmm.
been a nurse for the last, whatever year, 30 years. So that's what she went to school
Hmm.
for, and she did it. And her other sister, my other cousin, went to school, got her master from Lincoln and all that. But that's, their mother, pushed them, encouraged them to go to school.
Pouring into them.
From the time I'm
Pouring
pretty
into them,
sure they
man.
came out the womb, they knew they were going to do something with their life. So,
Right. Pouring into
so
them.
it's
And
it's
that's
powerful,
so
man.
important. It's so important. That family unit that we always talk about.
Hmm.
When you have a two-parent household, it's not about economics. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? It's about encouragement, love, support, aesthetics. What your kids see between you and your wife, and that's more valuable than any amount of money that anybody can put in front of you. Because, like I said, when you pour into your children with good intentions and things like that, man, when you see the results, man, there's nothing more gratifying than knowing that you did your job and that they heed what you said. So it's just that's great, man. That's a great story. And there's a lot of families out there like that. They just don't get the recognition because it's not interesting to put on Instagram or TikTok. That's not interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Degeneracy is what we see,
right.
and imagery is powerful. So the world will definitely think that people that look like you and I, we're just into foolishness,
Hmm.
absolute foolishness. When there's so many success stories out there that do not get the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah. So just like everything you said, truth to all of that. And she was always involved with progressing women, particularly black women, to get educated and things like that, man. So yeah, Judy, rest in peace. And I definitely miss her. And that's one of them things. But at the same time, I can say it's one of them things that she passed on to me, and I was able to pour that into my own kids. You don't necessarily go to school, but you got to do something. And so we definitely have done that. So I'm proud to have gotten that outlook from her. So her and her husband.
Awesome,
So it's cool, man.
awesome,
But like you say,
awesome.
it don't always have to be somebody don't always have to necessarily be an athlete or whatever to be a role model or whatever, man. There's a lot of
No,
things in our community that we can point to and point our kids to, you know what I'm saying? To be a
absolutely.
productive member of society. So that's the
Yeah,
great thing
right,
about your job, man. You can point these kids to any number of areas.
right, right. I try to tell them, especially the older ones. I always ask them. I say, "What does success mean to you?"
Hmm.
First thing they go to is what? Money.
Money, of course.
And I always break it down. I'm like, well, in our world, in a world in which you may not have a lot of money,
Hmm.
success is not having a police record or an arrest record. You
Hmm.
understand? Success is finding a good paying job and going to work every day and supporting yourself or your family. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
A good name is success. So I'll try to tell them so many things that money is the last thing that equates to success when you're talking about the grassroots of what success is. Money's way at the back of the line. You know what I mean? Because if you have avoided the many pitfalls of life that we face every day throughout our lives, in particular in the Black community, if you have escaped those pitfalls without incident, without hurting yourself or without hurting others, you are now a success because you made it out of a place that was littered with obstacles for you to fail, you know. And it's not a victim mentality. So I don't want anybody to think that, but let's call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? The inner city, USA, you understand, is in trouble. You look all over the place, inner city Buffalo, it's chaotic. Inner city Philadelphia, it's chaotic. Okay, so there are pitfalls, there are traps, there are things that can definitely change the direction of your life if you're a young person, just going left or right, doesn't matter. So if you come out of those things, like I said, with the stuff we mentioned, having a good job, putting in the work, even like I said, going to the military, serving your country, and coming out of there with a marketable skill.
Hmm.
There's so many roads to success. It's not all about money. It's not all about money.
Definitely not. It's definitely not all about money. So that my week was just filled with just working, man, the job, the 9 to 5, nothing exciting, which is sometimes a good thing. Really it is a good thing. Sometimes it's just good to wake up and to feel good, not to have
No extra stuff, man.
no
No
extra,
extra
bro.
stuff. No
Yeah,
extra
I'm
stuff.
telling you, man, because
I
you read,
know. I
those
know.
of us that read our Bible, we know that the word says in this life there will be trials and tribulations. So it's nice to
That's
wake up
right.
without a trial or a tribulation, bro. It's nice to
That's
wake
right.
up and be like, yeah, I feel good. Everything is going okay with the family. Ain't no real issues that I'm dealing with. I can just go to work, focus on that, and come home and do what we got
That's
to
your
do.
greatest tribulation is
Exactly,
deciding
bro.
if you want to call in or not.
Exactly.
I don't feel
So
like it today. Yo, man, sick day. Trial and tribulation over right there. I'm about
absolutely.
to go about to go back to bed and possibly kick it with my wife. If she's home, we just gonna have a day off. So that's success, Don. When you have gotten your life to that point, dude, that's success.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. And also within that, me and my wife, we would always talk about, but there have been times where we have struggled, financially. And excuse me,
Of course.
one
We
of the
all do.
things that we said back in the day is that look, we're not trying to be rich folks. We just trying to be able these kind of people that can pay their bills on time, pay their bills off, go on vacation here and there, and just be normal folks, man. That's to me is that's good enough for me. I don't need to have like, billions and billions of dollars. That's not like a focus of mine. It's not a goal of mine. Okay. Would I turn it down if it happened? No, I wouldn't turn it down. Neither would anybody. But at the
Of
same
course
time,
not.
that's not the goal for me. The goal is to be content. You know what I mean? And I can say that I'm content. I can say that, we are content. So I'm glad and I thank God for being content. I think that's okay. I think people out there, that's something we can strive for. We can strive to be content people instead of trying to be people that are always, wanting what somebody else got or, coveting this or that. Man, listen, just be glad
Mhm.
that you ain't got nothing going on in your life and be thankful for that. Be content. I think the Bible says be godliness with contentment is a great game. So that's the thing, man. Just be content. And listen, I'm content. The week was good. The week was great. I got no complaints. I'm here on a Friday night, chatting it up with my partner. And listen, That's a good deal for me.
Yeah, I can dig it. I
Now I
had
mean,
yeah, I had an emotional roller coaster of a week.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Tell the
back
people.
yeah, back to the house hunting.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't mentioned that in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, great news. We found a property that we wanted.
Oh, awesome.
Uh, and the it was basically an estate sale. So there were three siblings, a guy and two sisters, because dad had died some years ago and mom had just passed maybe 2 years ago. So they held the home. All of them are out of town. And they were like, okay, it's time to unload it, because they held on to it because it was paid for. You know how you just hold on to it and people come back and check on it. It's an heirloom. It's a family thing.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually they were like, okay, we can get rid of mom and dad's house. So brick ranch, 3 bedrooms,
Mm.
1 bathroom, with the bathroom capability in the basement, finished basement, just a spacious, lovely ranch, nice ranch, 2.5 car garage, nice size yard, just enough to piss me off if I mow it. Not acres, but just enough to make me mad. Um, just a really nice, quiet neighborhood. It's maybe 20 minutes away from where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So the realtor calls us and she goes, great news, guys. They accepted your bid. So I am going to do an unsolicited plug for the armed forces. Now listen to this story, Don.
All right.
Realtor goes, Mike and Kenya, it was like 7 offers, and all of them around the same ballpark, a little more than yours, a little less than yours. The son of the couple picked us because his dad was a World War II vet.
Nice.
He said we're going with the VA loan. Dad would have wanted us
Nice.
to give it to a veteran. I
Very
was like,
nice.
favor, favor from the Lord, brother.
Yes,
That's
sir.
favor.
Yes, sir.
Favor. 6 other, 7 other bids going in it, you know. And of course, we went above and beyond. Hold on 1 second. Close those curtains and turn that light on for me, please, dear. The princess is home again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So she, because she coaches her old bowling league. She coaches the high school kid. So she comes in town and gets some good food and you know does some things like that. So yeah, she's back. Turn that light on, dear. The corner light. Yes. Okay. But anyway, now, yes, favor, man, favor, because we all know uh, this real estate market is crazy competitive, man, and we had already lost 6 bids. Being outbidded and things like that. We already lost 6. So for this guy to say dad would have wanted this to go to a veteran, we're picking the VA loan. And it was like, wow,
That's awesome, man.
wow,
Congratulations.
man.
That's a beautiful thing,
Thank you.
man. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes,
Shout out to the VA
yes.
loan.
No
Uh,
question.
we talked
No
about
question.
the benefits of being in the military, and that's one of the great benefits of being a military veteran is the respect that people will show you. You know what I mean? There's a lot of gratitude that is expressed to people for those of us that serve, and that's one of the great things about serving in the military. It's nice. Like if you're out, you might be out in the market somewhere, and you might have some military paraphernalia on your hat. And I've had people uh, more than one occasion offer to pay for whatever was in my bag or on my line, and to the point to where sometimes I don't even like to wear my hat because I don't want to think maybe people think I'm panhandling. I appreciate people being thankful and all that, but I can pay for this. I'm good. But I appreciate the way people honor their vets in this country. That is one thing about America that I do. I absolutely think is a great thing. So I'm glad that happened for you, brother. And that's definitely worthy that's worthy of another cheers, my brother. Congratulations to Mike and Kenya. The housing search appears to be coming to an end. Be looking
Yeah.
forward to that housewarming party, my brother.
Hmm. Can't wait. I'm gonna have to tell y'all to keep it down.
Oh
Cause
yeah, yeah.
because praise the Lord, it ain't one of those neighborhoods no more.
That's
So
what's
what I
up.
did, Don, was when we went and looked at the house, initially the open house, we loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, boom. So once we put our bid in, nothing came back yet. After work a few days, did some recon, rolled back over there, to see what a Tuesday on the street would be like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A few people mowing their lawn, crickets, Okay, cool. Come back the next week on a Thursday. Let me see if I can catch somebody doing something over here. Crickets. I said, that's where we are, man. That's where we are. I mean, that's where we are anyway. You know what I mean? We want quiet. We want peace now. You know, the city living. I've done it for 56 years.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's time to do something else.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it's just time to do something else because we want peace. And when you're younger, your peace tolerance, you don't really care because a lot of times you're out in the chaos as well.
I was
You,
about to
you
say that
know,
you
but
put you in the mix
when you
yourself.
become
So
older,
yeah. So
you're gonna
when
make
you're
yourself
young,
so you don't
huh?
notice anything.
Nah.
Nothing bothers you. You're immune to that stuff. But
You got your music as loud as your neighbors. You ain't it ain't no thing to you. You chilling. You like, oh, you got your music? Let me turn mine up.
yeah, yeah, let me pump this thing. But
Yeah,
no,
you
we're
yeah,
we're,
you
we're
got yours
beyond
up.
that.
I'm gonna turn
We're
mine up
beyond that.
too. Let's
Yeah,
turn
we're
up
beyond
together.
that. Yeah, but unfortunately, our neighbors aren't beyond that. So it's time for us to go.
That's what's up, man.
Um,
That's
it's
good.
just changing, and we need to make a change ourselves. So yeah, so praise the Lord for favor, man. We got exactly what we mutually liked, which is always difficult. If you have a wife or
Absolutely.
a husband, sometimes you will not always dig, you know, the same thing when shopping for something, a major purchase like a home. I don't like the way this looks. I don't like it. So you'll get that. This one was a unanimous, like, yo, we like it because it's actually smaller than what we're in now, which is what we wanted. And just a different environment.
100%, man. It's always good to be in agreement with your spouse, man. That's a wonderful, it's a blessed thing, my brother.
It
Good thing,
is.
good thing.
It
So
is. It is.
that's a good, man. It seems so that the weekend review for Mike and Don seemed like it was pretty good. The Hickses are about to move into a new home, so that's a great blessing. And then another thing, as far as this, yes, sir. Another thing in this weekend review, I wanted to bring up, Mike, is down here, and I'm sure you probably seen it even up here in Buffalo, and to a lot of our watchers out here, you all may have seen and or heard that in Pennsylvania, particularly in the area where I live at, we had an escaped convict. His name was Danelo Cavalante. He escaped the Chester County prison by shimmying up the wall like Spider-Man, and somehow being able to evade the prison officials, including the dude in the watchtower whose job it was to watch people when they get out into the open field. It was his job to see that nobody could then escape the tall fence with the shaved barbed wire fence. The dude was able to get through that. I ain't gonna call my brother. The dude was able to get through even that undetected. And not only this, but listen to this, people. It was 2 hours before the prison even notified the officials that the man had broken out. So I think that
Mm,
had a lot to do with embarrassment, fear, because they knew there was going to have to be some retribution from the state officials. Like, how did you all let this man escape in broad daylight? And
yeah.
if you all look on your YouTube or on Twitter or whatever else, you'll be able to see just how he did it. He looked and seen that the coast was clear. There were these two walls, and the man's 5 foot tall, 100 pounds, and he shimmied himself up the wall, and he was off on the run. And so this whole thing lasted for 2 weeks. And Mike, the crazy part about it was he was in one area near the prison, which is a place called Longwood Gardens, which is basically like it's like a plant museum where people go and you visit various types of plants and natural wonders and that type of thing in an enclosed sort of greenhouse type of situation.
Hmm.
um, he would and they have a bunch of acres around that, so he was basically on their property for a good while. They asked him how was he able to survive. This is what the interrogators were asking him. Basically, he stole some watermelon from this property and was living off of creek water. So the dude is from Brazil, um or yeah, so he's from Brazil, and I guess he must have some sort of abilities that enabled him to stay on the loose this long. He was able to steal an ice cream truck. Yes, an ice cream truck. Stole an ice cream truck, and
How fast do they go?
they can't go so fast. I seen it. It's just like a
I
van. It's like, what's this guy?
right.
This guy, wow.
And when have you ever seen ice cream trucks speeding through your neighborhood? They're always slow. I'm like, how fast do they even go?
But this is the crazy part. The police in another town actually had that truck identified and stopped, but they let the dude go because they didn't think it was him. If you can believe that. Now I don't know if they actually
I
pulled it
can't believe
over.
that.
Yeah, but they literally didn't think that it was the dude, so he wound up getting let go. They let the guy go. So long story short, he ditches the truck and goes into another field. And unfortunately for him, when he went into this field, they had him pretty much trapped. They sent in Deputy Agent Samuel Gerard from the fugitive Tommy Lee Jones. He was out there. The U.S. Marshals, the state police,
Them boys was
everybody.
out there.
Everybody was out there looking for this Joker, but it was a German Shepherd, Belgian Malinois breed that was the one to bring him down. And he even said via his um, interpreters that they were walking past him repeatedly. They were 8 to 7 yards away from him, and they didn't even know they were near him. It was the dog who sniffed his behind out and
No
brought
question.
the man to justice. So shout out to Yoda, the police dog, K9 unit. Good job,
Yeah.
Yoda. We need to give you some biscuits and take care of you.
No, that dog need a
Doing your
steak
job.
after that. That's a steak.
Yeah,
That's biscuits. No.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Ribeye, right?
ribeye, straight up. Just fry it on each side and give it to the dog. Let him live. You know what I mean? Yeah,
But
that's
you know,
that's amazing. It
what's the
really is,
interesting
man.
part about it though, Mike, was you had people out here that thought they were going to be vigilantes. You had people out here with their little rifles riding around on scooters and whatnot. But here's the thing that people don't understand. Okay, this man was a convicted murderer. He didn't just murder one person, he murdered 2 people. Okay. And people got to understand that just because you got a gun license, just because you have weapons, that don't make you a killer. I got news for you. That don't make you a murderer. That don't make you, that doesn't mean that you're able to actually pull the trigger just because you have these weapons. All right. So, in fact, here's the evidence. The man went into a garage that was open, in the perimeter that should have been locked up like the police told you to. And he went to this garage and took the guy's took the guy's 22 rifle that was fully loaded and got away. And the guy seen him. They basically came face to face, and the man had a pistol on him, shot at the man 7 times and missed all 7 times. So you know what that tells me? He probably wasn't even looking. He probably was so scared and so full of fear.
Shooting with his eyes closed.
Like Barney Fife out here, just shooting any old kind of way. Man, everybody ain't built to do that. Let the cops do their job, people.
Yeah.
Let them do their job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you're face to face with him, dude, and you ain't giving lead poisoning. You were shook.
Exactly.
You were just firing to get him off your property. You wasn't shooting to kill. You were firing to scare him away.
Right.
Which
You
is what
wasting
you
bullets.
did. Right. But yeah, 7 shots, man, and you ain't grazed the dude, and you basically ran up on him. Yeah. And yeah, everybody ain't built for it, man. And it's not, you remember the movie Cape Fear?
Absolutely.
When
Robert
Nick
De
Nolte
Niro,
was
Nick
like,
Nolte.
I'm gonna need a gun for this guy. He goes, well, you have to understand now, shooting a man ain't like shooting a tree.
That's right.
That's a fact. Just give me the gun, damn it. You know what I mean? So Nick Nolte always freaking out. But yeah, man, it's not the same thing. And for people who say, I'll be listen, man, ain't nothing like the time when it comes up on you. Okay,
Sidebar.
time speaks for itself.
Underway podcast sidebar here. That was one of Robert De Niro's most underrated roles. He was fantastic in Cape Fear. He was a straight Looney Tune. And the accent that he was able to acquire for that role, come on, man. Come on. That's like top 5 Robert De Niro role right there for me. He was incredible.
Am I your buddy? Okay, because I don't have to report to you. I ain't your Huckleberry.
He was crazy.
What'd he say? Yeah, I just need you to get out of town, you white trash piece of shit. He's like, ooh, that just got me. I'm just shivering all over.
Yeah, he was crazy.
That's when Robert De Niro was Michael Jordan. That's when he just couldn't miss from Goodfellas. He has had that run, dude, where he was just the dude, no question.
And I want to say, I think it was either the year before, the year after, he did Midnight Run with Charles Grodin. So I mean,
no, that's when I was in the military. That was in 1987.
Oh, okay, but
that
still,
was in
though, it's like to have go from that
I remember
to that.
You know how I remember it was 1987?
Oh,
because I came home on leave that summer. That was the summer we were going into the Persian Gulf.
Okay, wow.
So I came home that summer, and my mother liked Charles Grodin. That's Charles Grodin, isn't it? Charles Grodin?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Charles Grodin. So she's like, let's focus this movie with Charles Grodin, and I think the guy played in one of the Godfather movies. I'm like, okay, ma, let's go. So we went and saw Midnight Run. I
Wow.
do remember that. Me and my mom. So that was 87. No doubt about it.
I want to say that movie might have a record for using the F word. This is quite a
And that's
use
why
that
my
word
mother was
quite a bit, man.
horrified. My mother was horrified because because my mom really, really, we've always gone to church, but my mom really dove into being a born again Christian in 1983.
Hmm.
You know, and then by 87 she had the game down. But she figured she'd step out and with her son and watch a movie. Man, she came out that joint like, I didn't know it was that much profanity. I'm like, Ma, I didn't either. I don't know what to tell you. I said, but Robert De Niro was potty mouthed in that joint.
Yeah, he was something, man. That was a great movie. You know what's funny? I might even watch this when we're done podcasting. I don't know if my wife ever saw that. That might be a nice
That's a
little
good one.
Friday night movie. Yeah, it's good. It's
That's a
on
good one.
Netflix, by the way. Free plug for
Okay.
Netflix. We should get like paid for that for saying that. All right.
I don't say that word.
Yeah, exactly. Matter
You
of fact,
know.
we're gonna make out a new rule. We're not gonna say no names on this podcast unless we getting paid for it. All right. Period.
Absolutely.
Point blank.
Absolutely. Did you see BSU yet?
BSC. What's that?
Yeah, BSH? No, BS High.
Oh, dude, that made me so angry. I couldn't even barely watch it, Mike. I
Listen,
ain't gonna
man.
front.
Listen.
That dude need to be
You,
punched in his face.
listen, you're talking about mental illness, Don.
Absolutely.
There was something wrong with that dude, man.
Mm,
Now, not only was he a dirtbag, but
mm.
I'm really, if you look in his eyes, something was missing from that dude, man. You know what I mean? And then later on in the story, one of the players that was staying with him talking about how he was beating up his girlfriend and all.
Yeah.
You can see it with that dude. He's a scumbag, dude. He
Yep.
was a real scumbag. And for him to he laughed at all. I mean, he laughed at that stuff,
Yeah,
man.
that's what I didn't understand. It's like I feel like HBO Max, whatever they're called now, another free plug, that they actually had the audacity. I feel like that they almost glorified him to an extent. Like y'all
Yeah, they
didn't
should have been
really
above that. They should have been like, yo, this is not that hot. Let's not do this because this guy's a dirtbag. We really
or,
don't need to do this.
or presented in such a way that, yo, listen, this is the story, but at the same time, this guy's he's a piece of what? He's a
Right,
piece of trash.
right.
For taking advantage of these kids, for putting them in football games that they had no business being in, for playing like 2 high-level football games inside of what, 3 or 4 days. I mean, this
Dude,
guy was a
yeah.
clown, man.
He was a scumbag, man. It was yeah, so yeah,
Was
we
and
don't want
is.
to we can't plug y'all. We can't plug, but I already said the title. If y'all catch the title, go watch it. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
infuriating because if I'm
Absolutely.
a dad of one of them boys, man, I'm looking for this dude, man.
Yeah.
And
It's
because you got
crazy.
people are paying tuition to a fictional school, Don.
Mm.
Some people still paying that bill because they had to take out loans. Dude, I'd be looking for that cat.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And this is a nice little segue because speaking of scumbags, another scumbag is this guy, Kevin Porter Jr., who plays for the Houston Rockets. Kevin Porter Jr. was arrested for assaulting his sleeping girlfriend. Uh, he was arrested for felony assault and strangulation after an alleged attack on his girlfriend. Now,
Mm.
this is crazy to me. But here's the craziest part. All right, yeah, he's crazy. He's sick. But do you know what the Houston Rockets' response to this was? It wasn't to immediately cut him. They tried to trade him. Think about that for a minute. The Houston Rockets tried to trade this man instead of cutting him, instead of like releasing him, whatever. There's got to be something in your contract that I know NBA contracts are like guaranteed allegedly, but there's got to be some kind of clause in there, decency clause, like that prevents you from being like an
Yep.
OJ or something like that. I'm sorry, OJ. We know you were,
But
found not guilty. No offense,
hey,
OJ, but it is
come,
what it
come on,
is.
man. Come on,
I
man.
mean, I'm sorry, you got the Bills hat on and everything.
Come
But
on, man.
anyway,
Yeah.
that prevents people from still collecting millions of dollars. I mean, what would make this kid decide? Now, here, like we say, here's another guy, and we talk about contentment and all of that, and not necessarily chasing fortune, but he literally had the fortune. He's living a dream. You're in the NBA playing high level basketball. He's no slouch. He's a good ball player. What are you out
Hmm.
here beating up and strangling your girlfriend for? What could she possibly have done to make you want to do something like that? If you
To
caught
make
her
you
cheating,
that
who
upset,
cares? Find another
right,
girl, dude.
dude? I'm like he don't
No
have no, like he
excuse.
don't have another one anyway, Don.
Exactly.
Like he don't have another one anyway. We're talking about NBA, young NBA players. Yeah, they're one women men. Stop it. Stop it.
Unbelievable, man. It
Oh
is
man.
so yeah, man. It's just disturbing. And the thing that really even disturbs me more is that when you look on there, you see this young black male that's successful and made it to really the top of his, the top.
Hmm.
Because you got all these kids
Achieved
out
his dream,
here,
like you
yeah,
said.
man, achieving all these dreams, and because you know guys that should have been in the league, right? So to make it to that level and to blow it is insane to me. It's
Hmm.
insane, dude. I mean, what are we doing out here, man? Use common sense, and mental health, man. Had to be something mentally lacking for this young fellow to have done that.
To just
Now,
lose
right.
it. He lost it.
And let me just say that because somebody's gonna watch this video and be like, well, we don't know that. Well, then how does she get the strangulation marks on her neck
Right.
if he didn't do it? How did that happen? So, sometimes we just
Yeah.
gotta call it is what it is, man. Listen, the guy's a dirtbag, man. And sometimes in our community we get so afraid to call we don't want to call wrong. But I got news for you. That's wrong. All right. That's
Yeah.
wrong and it's
He's a
despicable.
he's
All
a
right.
scumbag, man.
Yeah, he's a
Scumbag.
scumbag. A
Period.
scumbag. Just like that
Period.
that dude, whatever it is from that clown that was down. Was it Baltimore this happened? The BS
Which
dude.
one?
The BS guy, the coach, the BS guy.
Yeah. Well, I think
Was
it
that
was
B More?
Maryland or something, or Virginia. I think it was Virginia.
Okay. Okay.
Might have been Virginia. It might have been Virginia, but yeah, it was. And then, like I said, yeah, I mean, then you had kids who were ineligible
Yeah.
playing
Scum.
high school, and then they go against IMG Academy and get just destroyed because that was true, legitimate football talent. You know,
IMG
guys who were,
Academy.
yeah. And you see the one
Powerhouse
kid,
school. Powerhouse school
powerhouse.
IMG.
That's where the studs go.
Where are
That's
they
where the
going? They
legit
going to
studs
like
go.
Georgia,
Oh,
okay?
no question.
Alabama.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's blue chippers. That's blue
Yes.
chippers that got a D in chemistry or something like
Yes.
you know what I mean. They had to go to IMG, a
Absolutely.
football factory. Okay, but you see the one kid for that BS high, Grambling had offered him, and then all of a sudden, man, dude, he had no transcripts because of that fake school, so they couldn't give him the scholarship. Dreams right down the toilet because of a dirtbag who was taking advantage of kids, man. That's no different than a child molester to me.
You're right.
He's a pedophile.
Yeah.
He's basically a pedophile in my eyes for what he did. He's a scumbag.
Yeah.
And his comeuppance, and then you hear him bragging about doing it again, Don,
That's
towards
what I
the
heard.
end
That's
of
what I said. It's like, what's the point of this show if then it's like one of them things where you want to see like and when the movie's over, you wanted to see,
the black
okay,
screen with the white words saying his
yes,
ass is in jail.
yeah, he should be in Jessup somewhere, up in Jessup, where up there with Avon Barksdale, all right, with Weebay and Chris Partlow and all them cats. He need to be up in there with
Right.
them jokers.
It was Marlowe and all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, he need
Yeah.
to be up
Yeah.
in there. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Without the KFC though. All right.
Yep.
He need to be getting handled. to our to our fans out there, you
So
know who I'm
fans
talking
don't
about.
want to know. Yeah, when you know, you know.
When
When you
you
know,
know,
you
you
know.
know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we'll do it like that,
Exactly.
man. But yeah,
But here's a segue for you, Mike.
yeah.
Here's a segue.
Hmm.
So this guy, we agree he's scum, right? And the
Yes.
Kevin Porter guy is scum. So this is
Yes.
another thing me and Mike was batting around here, and I think it's appropriate. Not necessarily wasn't going to be about these two bums, but at the same time, it's appropriate because these guys they lacked an accountability partner somewhere, a friend, right? And it's like Houdini sang back in the day, friends, how many of us have them? Ones we can depend on because they must not have had no friends. Or they must not have no friends that really and then maybe they do. And maybe there's a friend out there that was like, yo, don't put your hands on this girl, or yo, why are you in this relationship? Or yo, dude, what are you doing to these kids? You know what I mean? Because it's hard for me to believe that these seem like willy-nilly type of responses and actions that these guys are out here doing. Like, did they have anybody that could speak some common sense to them, do you think? Or do you think that these guys were so ignorant and so full of whatever that they had no ability to even do some introspection of themselves? I mean, what do you think? Do you think a friend could have helped them? Do you think they had friends? I'm just curious.
Well, when you talk about that, Don, when you're talking about someone who holds you accountable, or someone that can, pull your coat, and uh, kind of reel you back in from whatever danger or whatever mishap or whatever, foolishness you're about to commit. I think a lot of it has to do with, and this is just my opinion and my observation. I think a lot of it has to do with what what kind of footing you and that friend are on. And this is what I mean. If you and I grew up together and you became, and I hate to use sports, whatever. Let's just
Mhm.
talk what it is. You wound up getting drafted by the Eagles. You've been my man since high school. You know what I mean? Up through college, we stayed tight, and now you made it to the league. So now you want to take me with you. Okay? You want to take me with you. What happens a lot of times is, Don, is you're not just taking me with you. You know what I mean? So the voice of reason can often get lost in the shuffle of the chaos. Okay, so a lot of these people, Allen Iverson, perfect example, took all the dudes from Newport News that were his close friends. Those are the dudes, his ride or dies, right?
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, Don. When the money's flowing,
Mhm.
you understand, and everybody's living better than they ever lived because of Bubba Chuck, do you think somebody's gonna tell him not to do something?
Absolutely not. We know that. We've seen it.
Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're talking about Michael Vick, you mean to tell me nobody in that dogfighting ring would tell Mike, "Hey, Mike, man, back away from this homie, because you gonna be the one to take this fall, bro." Now, in all fairness, Don, someone may have said that to Michael Vick, but now you got to put in the video game quarterback he was at the time. He was the most exciting thing in the NFL. So is he listening to anybody who really has good intentions for him? So it's a two-way street, I believe. Okay, when it comes to the normal folk like me and Don, okay, a lot of times what you've seen without money and fame or whatever corrupting any of that, a lot of things that one thing that you do see is Don, who is headed for trouble, may have his own self-recognition to go, I need to talk to my friend because this is getting bad. You see what I'm saying? I may
Mhm.
not even have to say anything to you, Don, because our circle is so tightly knit. You go, let me call Mike, man, because I got to talk to somebody about this. I'm really having, trepidations about this. I'm having a problem. See, but to your point, yes, I'm sure that most of the people who, well, all of us have a close friend. You know what I mean? Most of us do. I can't speak for, let me retract that. Most of us have close friends in our lives, okay, whose word means something to us. Okay, so if we're going left and they, steer us back right, their word helped us go back right because we value their word. But you and I are not young millionaires who the world is clamoring to be
Mhm.
next to. And you see what I'm saying? So I can't say that they didn't have friends that did that, but that friend's voice of reason, I'm sure, got lost in the shuffle of the chaos, whatever that may be.
And you make a great point there, about, people not wanting to do anything because they really don't want to stop the faucet. All right. That's what you're talking about. Like the faucet, if the faucet running, that means we all gonna get wet, wet with that money. But I wanted to just like say also, sometimes there's friendships out here where friends, you think you're friends, you think that you're tighter with them than you actually really are. But then you come to find out that you're not as tight with them as you think you are. You think, oh man, this dude right here, that's my ace, that's my number one. I know I can count on this person. And then they do something to you, or that you come to find out about, because real friends, I think, for the most part, most real friends, will share stuff with one another. Real friends, they don't let um how can I say it? If there's something that needs to be, if they're into something, I think a lot of times the other friend will know it, right? And then when they get
Hmm.
called out on it, hopefully, they're friends enough to be able to say, okay, yeah, this is what happened, and boom, boom, boom,
Hmm.
and we move forward. The sad thing is when a friend gets caught out there in a situation and then they don't want to admit to it, A, B, they're in denial, and then C, ultimately that winds up ruining a good friendship. So, it's a sad thing. And you were I know that you had a situation or have a situation with your friend, you let people know about, but I just wanted to say before you do that,
Mhm.
there's different ways to lose a friend. Something that I share with the brothers on the polo. There's different ways to lose a friend. And but make no mistake that when you lose a friend, whether they die on you or, some issue beef comes up, it's sad and hurtful no matter what. I can say that. When you have somebody that you build a trust with, that you build a rapport with, and they're no longer there, that's one of the toughest things in the world to deal with. So, but let me just say to people out there, if you have a friend that's still with you, you know, I think the thing about it is if they're a real friend, you're gonna be open with them, you're gonna communicate with them, and you're not gonna keep things from them. Because in reality, if you keeping things from them then you're really probably not, they're really not a real friend with you,
No,
not a close friend. They might be an
not being
associate.
authentic. Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
being authentic
not
about it.
authentic friendship, man.
Hmm.
So that's just it, bro. But
Hmm.
speak on,
Well,
if you want to, you can speak on your
yeah,
situation.
I will. I'll give you a short story about the late Cliff Robinson, former NBA player with
Absolutely.
the Portland
Trailblazer.
Trail Blazers, yeah, Phoenix Suns.
Seton Hall,
No, Connecticut.
Connecticut. I know one of the Big East
Yeah.
schools.
Um, yeah, so Cliff was about 3 or 4 teams, 5 teams maybe, ended with Detroit. Okay. So, Cliff and I are same age. We went to, grammar school together. Uh, didn't live far from each other as far as neighborhoods, and we're always pretty cool. We always were like, "What up, Mike?" Boom, boom, dap up. Summer leagues, boom. We just knew each other, but I was never close with Cliff. So when he made it to the NBA, he would come back home, and that same circle that we just talked about would be around him. Now, I knew the guys from his neighborhood. We all knew each other. So naturally, they were around Cliff, and then you had another layer of people and another layer of people. So whenever Cliff was in town, and like I said, we were in our 20s, when Cliff was balling, what I'm saying, when he won six man of the year, got the big contract with Phoenix when he left Portland. So Cliff was a star. Comes back home, still out in the streets, I would see Cliff. What's up, Cliff? Mike, what's happening? Dap, dap. You know what I mean? Short conversation, off I would go. Okay. So as time went on, Cliff got a little, long in the tooth, and you know how the NBA is, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It was time for him to move on. But he always came home. That's what I did like about Cliff. Cliff always came home. He sponsored, youth basketball leagues, took care of his mom, all that stuff. I always had the greatest respect for Cliff. Um, so as he got towards the end of his career, when I would see him, our conversations would become longer when we would see each other. Now, when he was a star, it was like, "Yo, what up, Cliff Bob?" And I say, "Yo, man, hey, you balling good? Congratulations on six man. Boom, boom, boom. Off we go." Then he's off with his crowd of people, his surround, the cloud of people that are around him. So as we got older, man, our conversations would get longer and longer. And this is one conversation in particular I remember. I was coming out of a restaurant with my mom and my wife on Hurdle Avenue. Big black, F-150 tents and everything, pulls up the street, pulls over like right to me, almost, like he's gonna hit me.
Wow.
Rolls down the window. It's Cliff.
Mhm.
What's up, Mike? Hey, what's happening? This and that. Doom, doom. Mom, I gave him, they unlocked the car. He pulls over, we talk. And this is what he said to me, Don, and I'll never forget this. And he died soon after that, maybe a year after that. He goes, Mike, he said, you know why? I always liked you, man, and I should have really had you closer to me. And I go, why? He said, because you never wanted nothing from me.
Mm, that's big. That's big.
And I knew this dude since we were in fourth grade.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But I told him, I said, Cliff, we was always cool, man. I said, I was never one of your inner circle, and I wasn't one who was going to push himself. I'm not a groupie. I think you
Hmm.
know me better than that. He goes, yeah. He said, that's why I always liked you. You never wanted anything from me. Our conversations were always genuine. You always wanted to see how I was doing. And I said, there you go. And then a year later, he died of lymphoma,
Wow.
and I didn't see him again. So that was the last time I saw Cliff. And we were just, like I said, casual friends. But that did mean something for him to say that to me, and it really kind of made me bask in my authenticity of just being a real person. And he said that you never wanted nothing from me. You know what I mean? So can you imagine the crew that he took along with him?
Hmm.
I'm sure they were like they're doing Allen Iverson or Jordan or whatever, LeBron, his whole circle. So Don mentioned news that I shared with him, and as I shared earlier, I had a tumultuous week emotionally. Um, the middle is always school. I'm very happy there. I'm very content there. I'm very solid there. The high was my wife and I finding the house that we were looking for. The low, before I go on, I want to send a special shout out of love and peace to the Moss family of Buffalo, New York, and of Spartanburg, South Carolina. I lost my longtime friend, Keith Moss. This was a guy who we knew of each other in Little League football at about 10 years old. I had a little name, he had a little name, so we were rivals in Little League. About eighth grade, I transferred to his school, and then we eventually went to high school together, became high school teammates who were once rivals. Uh, and then beyond that, we were just always very, very tight. So he had developed an illness um, that he fought a good fight with for at least 2 years. The illness was sarcoidosis. If you remember the late comedian Bernie Mac, he succumbed to the same disease.
Mm.
So, um, our phone calls, which were like 2 or 3 times a month, we definitely stayed in touch all the time. Uh, would be interrupted by coughing spells, and he had to, wear oxygen when he talked to me. Um, and I developed such a grace for that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my friend, man, who
Mhm.
when he was whole, we were aces, and he lived in South Carolina. I lived in Buffalo. Of course, we didn't get to see each other as much as we used to when he lived here. But he was always close to me, and I was always a phone call away. So we did speak often. Uh, I was there for the birth of both of his daughters. I remember when he called me when they were born, both born. Uh, so I've been through the ups and downs. I was there for him for the loss of his father. Um, I was there when he got married, not at the actual ceremony because he just did some elope stuff, but nonetheless, he let me know that he was married after he got married. He stood up in my wedding. Uh, like I said, just a very good, very close friend um, who I'm going to miss dearly, man. I'm going to miss dearly. And the day that I found out that he wasn't doing well, uh, I took it the hardest. I took it the hardest because we never. The thing about this life, man, especially for people that you are close to, your mind has an instant wall up about them leaving this world,
Mhm.
whether they're ill, whether they're, like I said, you and I stand sitting here doing this podcast. I don't even think about something happening to you.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? Because I take for granted that you'll be here tomorrow and we'll be able to podcast next week. But that's not how this life goes. You know that.
Right.
So um, I received a phone call Monday. Initially, I called his brother on Sunday after the 1 o'clock game. I said, "How's my man doing?" He goes, "Look, I just left the hospital." He said, "Call me tomorrow." He said, "He's not doing good, Mike." He said, "But I'll try to FaceTime you into him." I said, "Bet. No problem, man. I'll call you." I said, "You call me. I'll be at work, but I can step out anytime. I'll let my teaching partner know." He said, "Okay, cool." So I missed his phone call. He said, I saw the text. He said, "I didn't make it to the hospital, man." He said, "But here's Jackie's number," which is their sister that lives down there as well. Here's Jackie's number. She's probably going up there. I said, "Well, cool. Let me call Jackie." Call Jackie. Jackie goes, "Mike, it's not looking good." She said, "I don't even want you to FaceTime right now." She said, "It's just not good, Mike. I don't want you to. And I said, "I
Mhm.
get it." I said, "Thank you, Jackie." Because I've been knowing them since I was that age. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So they're like sisters. And she did a sisterly thing by saying, "Look, Mike, I don't even want you to deal with this." And that was around 11 o'clock in the morning. Went to a flag football coaches meeting that afternoon. Get the phone call. I see the 864 area code. You know how that goes, man. When I saw that, I already knew. I knew. She told me, "Yeah, Keith, went home to be with the Lord." It was around 5 5 p.m. And my heart was relieved, Don. My heart was relieved
That's right.
because my friend was not suffering anymore. And I listened to him suffer every time we talked on the phone.
Mhm.
But God was good because I rested in the fact, I had peace in the fact that as much as we talk, I know my voice was one of the last voices he heard before he went home to be with the Lord. So to me,
Absolutely.
man, uh, my morning was Saturday when I got the news of the grave condition he was in. But my heart celebrated when he finally went home to be with the Lord because there were no more phone calls where he was struggling for breath, you know, no more coughing spells, no more weakness, no more faint voice. So yeah, like you said, man, friendship is huge. And my grandmother always told me, Don, the late great Ella Roberts always told me, she says, son, when you get a certain age, if you have two good friends in your life, you're doing well.
Amen. I like that.
You remember that, Don? When
Mm.
we were in our 20s, we would roll with 10, 15 people.
Right, right,
You know what I'm saying? And then as you get older, life be lifing. So some
right.
folks get married, some people have kids, some niggas go to jail,
Hmm.
whatever it may be. Now the circle is smaller. And then as you get older, the circle is smaller. Get older, the circle is smaller. So at 56 years old, he was still one of the friends, man, who was still there.
It's interesting. It's like what I forgot it. The line is completely different, but at the same time, it can be said like this. You know, in The Godfather, they said our true enemy has yet to reveal himself, but in friendship, usually our true friend has yet to reveal himself. Because a lot of times the people you think are your real friends really aren't your friends, aren't the
No.
people that are going to have your back, aren't the people that are going to be with you through thick and thin. See, that's a real friend. A real friend will be there for you when you up, will
Yeah,
be there for you
party
when you're
time is
down.
easy.
Don't need to talk to you every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might not
Party
talk to
time
this
is easy.
person.
Fun
Yeah,
times are easy, Don.
yeah,
We all love fun.
right.
Fun times are easy.
That's right.
But when you talking about we man, yeah, you're right, man. When you're talking about the heavy stuff,
That's
who's
right.
really gonna be there to man hold your hand?
That's right. That's a real friend. You know what I mean? That's a real friend. So, thank God for real friends in this life, man. That's one of the things God gives us, friends, people that are going to be there, which, you might not have 100 friends, but boy, if you have one or two, like you said, people that you can talk to, you're doing good. You're doing good. So, shout out to the Moss family. And,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
you're in our, even though I don't know you, you definitely, on behalf of the Underway podcast, you're in our thoughts and prayers for you.
Yeah, be
So,
missed, man. He will be
yeah,
missed. That's my
absolutely.
ace. A piece of me is
Absolutely.
gone, brother. That's my ace.
Yeah, man. So, you'll be in our thoughts and prayers too, bro. Just keep your head up, man. That's all you can do. Like I always tell people when they lose people, man, just think of the good times. Think of because that's the things that'll keep you going. That'll
Yeah.
be the thing that, lift your head up. When you can remember the good times that you had with a person, the conversations that you had with them, those moments.
Hmm.
Listen, that'll always be able to propel you, in any loss in my life. That's what I do, you know. So
Yep.
yes,
Best
yep,
way to attack it, man.
absolutely, my brother.
But my heart is at ease, man, because he's at home with the Lord.
That's right.
The
That's
troubles of
home.
this world are behind him, bro. We still dealing with him.
Absolutely, brother. And the reality is we all hope to be able to see him, be able to get there one day so we can have that great reunion.
Amen.
So, you know what I mean?
Amen. Yep.
So,
All right.
moving on, my brother. Uh, yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me tell you about this hat, Don.
Yes, sir. Go
Now,
for it.
told you I'm coaching flag football again.
Oh, that's right.
And the NFL, has the, flag football initiative. A lot of, NFL is really supporting a lot of schools nationwide about flag football. They're getting girls into it, things like that. So, since of course, the late former Bills owner Ralph Wilson, his wife Mary is in charge of the Ralph Wilson Foundation. They finance and support and sponsor all of the stuff for our flag football league. So they came out Monday to our staff meeting and gave us the official. Now this is the official Buffalo Bills sideline cap. You dig what I'm saying? This is the one that the
Oh,
team is wearing. This is a real deal Buffalo Bills. This ain't no made in China. This is a real joint made right here at New Era Cap Company, right in downtown Buffalo. That is the new Bills hat right there. That's the
very
sideline
nice.
hat that you'll see. Okay. I got some socks too, man. I got I got some socks, the kind that digs wear, tied the tall joints with the stripes way at the top. Pair of those, all kind of swag, man. So the Bills treated us very well, man. They, bought all our uniforms, our flags,
Oh,
our
sweet.
footballs, things like that. So yeah, and at the end of the season, like I did last year, Don, I think I shared with guys on Polo that we have the quote championship unquote, but the season ending thing. All the schools that are sponsored by the Bills go out to Highmark Stadium and have a flag football tournament out there at the stadium that the Bills play in. So,
Awesome. Now
so
that
it's a
you
good
is
time.
that where you were at last year when you had that?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I think
I
I'm trying to
shared that
remember.
on Polo when I went to
Yeah,
the
I'm trying to
Highmark Stadium.
yeah.
Matter of fact, that weekend we were playing Green Bay, and I was giving Andy all kind of grief
Right,
because the
right.
Bills wound up whooping Green Bay. You know what I
That's
mean?
what's up, man. Shout out to the Buffalo Bills for doing something positive in their community.
Yeah,
That's
and
what's
every
up,
team
man.
does it. Philly does it somewhere. Everybody, the Eagles do it. Everybody does it. So yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up. I mean, I'm not familiar because I don't coach flag football, but that's what's up though, no matter what.
Hmm.
But sticking with our football topic, the right now in college football, usually people are talking about the Alabamas and the Georgias of the world, but this year, the big talk of college football has been the arrival of Mr. Deion Primetime Sanders as the new head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, who, in his own words, in his introductory press conference, said, "I'm coming to Colorado and I'm bringing my Louis with me." That is to say, his Louis bags, baby. He bringing his Louis Vuittons. In
Yeah, I'm
other
bringing
words, saying,
luggage, and it's Louis.
"Yes, sir." And when he talking about his Louis, he talking about his son Shador Sanders, who's just a phenomenal, phenomenal quarterback. Travis Hunter, two-way star player, DB and receiver, and I think his other son Shiloh Sanders, a safety, plus other different other players have also made the transfer there, not just from Jackson State where he came from, but to other schools,
Major programs throughout the country.
yeah, throughout the country. So one of the things that they're 2-0. They had a big opening week against um, I'm drawing a blank, TCU.
Texas Christian,
Yes,
yes.
sir. They had a shootout with them that they came out on top of. Last week, they had a tough game a little bit with Nebraska. Nebraska gave them a little bit of a run, but then at the end, they kind of ran away with that game. And then this week, they face Colorado State for the Battle of Colorado. About Colorado
The Rocky
has
Mountain
a
Battle.
yeah. Colorado has a coach that's also a African American coach, and his name is escaping me right now. I was going to Google his name, but the reason I'm not going to Google his name because he's a hater. That's why I'm not gonna Google your name, sir. If you watch the Underway podcast, I'm like that's why I'm not mentioning your name, sir. I was gonna celebrate the fact that here we got two African American coaches coaching at D1 Power Five schools, whatever the case may be, conferences, whatever you want to say, and that should have been the focus. That should have been, what everybody was talking about this week. But no, this guy decides that he wants to say in that sit down interview, I think it was ESPN, that when he does interviews, he takes his hat off and sunglasses like his mama taught him. So I mean, to me, like, bro, what was that about? Like, why was that necessary? For this gentleman to say that. Now, in talking to Rob Anderson, one of our former shipmates, he made mention today in our little text group today that he believes that it was done so that this man could get some shine for himself. So basically, what's what the kids would call clout chasing. But then again, let me just say this: there's a thing called, when clout chasing goes wrong. So now you clout chasing against Dion, and even Dion himself. His kids are like, I don't know why do people bring this on themselves. Like, why? Let's just keep it about the game. Just talk about the X and O's of the situation. Celebrate the fact that we got two brothers out here coaching against one another. That's what Dion said. He's like, I thought that's what this was about. That's a celebration. You out here talking about the fact I got a hat and sunglasses on. But here's what I believe it comes down to, Mike. People don't like confident people. That's just the reality. And I'm gonna tell you something, Mike. You know why I know that? Because I know that about you, brother. You're a confident brother. That's a fact. I mean, the people that don't know Mike like I know him, this brother on your screen right here, he's a confident black man. Mike will let you know what time it is. He'll let you know who he is. And here's the reality. You're going to have one of two responses. You're going to be good with that, or you're not going to want to deal with him. But Mike is a confident dude. He's not the kind of guy that's going to cower down to you. He's not the kind of guy that is like, oh, shuck, he's going to step and fetch it his way through around you. He is who he is. He's been that way his whole life. You know what I mean? And God bless Mike for doing that. I'm bigging him up right now because this is the reality. Because Mike, raised in a single parent household without a dad in the house, this man had to teach himself how to be like that. So why the heck would Mike be out here not having that kind of mentality? And that's the reality in our communities. Too many of us, and these kind of, they came up the same way, don't have that same enough confidence in themselves. Man, don't allow somebody else's confidence to throw you off, man. And that's the thing that really irks me about people. Even sometimes when we have discussions among ourselves, among friends or family, they can't stand when you say something with confidence. Why does my confidence in myself or what I'm saying bother you so much? Why does it bother you when I know what I'm talking about, or at least I believe I know what I'm talking about, right? That shouldn't bother you. That shouldn't threaten you. I forgot how Dion said it, but he basically said, don't let my confidence threaten you. Obviously, his confidence threatens that other coach. And that's what it's about. It's not about nothing else other than that. Now, this man feels threatened because here's a black man that is able to sit down in front of the whole world with some shades and a hat on and speak with intelligence, with confidence. And you know what that brother's response is? It's to be a hater, like Samuel Jackson from Django. Like he looked at Jamie Foxx up on that horse and said, "What that nigga doing up on that horse?" That's basically what that man said.
This is what he said now. Hey there, Miss Show Candy. I'm so good. That's good to see. Oh, wait a minute. Who that nigga up on that nag? There you go. That was Stephen from right. He wasn't going to welcome this brother. Here's the problem.
Go for it.
Okay, and I'm glad you. Perfect segue now. Here's the problem with our people. You see my hands?
Yes, sir.
Right? When our people think we're like this, they love us. We love each other. We love each other. When the playing field is equal, we love each other, man. It's not a tighter group. But when one is perceived to elevate, that's where the hate comes in. Mm-hmm. Because 9 times out of 10, like most rich people say, money didn't change me, it changed everybody around me. Mm-hmm. And that's a fact.
Absolutely.
That's a fact. Back to what you're saying about me, I thank you. I really do, bro. And it's having confidence is like having a lot of money. You know what I mean? There are a lot of people who hate rich people. And that rich person may really have a good heart. But the fact that they have more than you don't like them. That's not a basis on which not to like somebody. If I have more confidence than you shouldn't dislike me. You know what I mean? Especially if I haven't taken that confidence and abused you with it. Okay, so even when we started the Marco Polo app, Pierce had reached out to me and said, Mike, there are going to be a lot of dudes that you rubbed the wrong way here. And he said, it's not going to be intentional. He said, that's just the way you are. So for people who are not used to you, what did Mike say at my retirement party? He said the most famous description of me there is. I am an acquired taste. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You have to get used to the taste of me. And when you really do understand who I am, man, the confidence is in the back now. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a genuine loving person, man. If you're my friend, man, I'm faithful to the end. You know what I mean? I am disgustingly loyal to people that I deem my friend.
Let me interject.
So, whatever that. Go ahead.
Let me interject. Mm-hmm. I want to co-sign what Mike said, because you see us hosting this great show and having good conversation. But let me just say this. At one time, I felt a little bit threatened by Mike, because we had the Polar Group to speak on what P was saying. And like P said, I think what happened there, Mike, was all of us to a certain level had our own level of confidence. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All of us had our own level of, standing within the friendship group. And here
Mm-hmm.
was this brother that came in that really did not try to, act. He came in like, this is who I am. And it is what it is. And you weren't disrespectful, but you know what I mean? And I think we took it the wrong way. I know me personally, I did. But I can
Right.
say this about you. Despite how I might have felt about you one time, Mike Hicks is one of the most authentic brothers that I know have ever met in my life. That's a fact. I wouldn't be
Thank
sitting
you.
on here on a Friday night with you if that wasn't the case. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just reality.
Yeah,
I
you
wouldn't be
got me find
sitting here
something better to
talking
do.
with you.
Right.
Listen, let me tell you something. I'm gonna go dig a little deeper for the people out there. I had another podcast with a dude that I thought was a real one, a dude that I thought was somebody I could count on. I ain't gonna tell you what happened. Let's just say he wasn't real, and I couldn't count on the dude. All right, and there was a third strike too, but I'm not gonna embarrass the brother. That
Mm-hmm.
basically got him out of there. So I was trying to figure out, oh man, where do I go from here now? And it was Brother Hicks here that reached out to me and said, yo, I'll be more than willing to fill in the gap. That kind of, here's the reality, Mike. If I can be honest with you, I wish you would have did that from the start. I wish I would have never had to go with that other cat, because I always thought that me and you would be good together on a show like this. So I'm glad that you did do that. But nonetheless, I'm glad that I want to let you know publicly, I'm glad, brother, that you stepped into the gap, man.
I am as well.
Because
But I
it's
mean,
good to have
but these are the
authentic.
lessons of life. But these are the lessons of life, Don. These are
You
the
know what?
lessons.
But this is
You
the
know.
thing, man. We're
Hmm.
similar in a lot of ways in that, because when me and you both speak, it's like we speak and we have conviction about what we say. And the
Hmm.
reality is, there's too many people, particularly in our community, they don't have no damn conviction. You
Right.
don't know what they stand for. You don't know what they believe in. I love having conversations with you because I know you're convicted. You have conviction. You feel what you're saying. You know what I mean? And so
Likewise, brother.
it's real, brother. And there's too many people
Likewise.
out here in our community that don't have no conviction. It frustrates me. Even sometimes in our text group, I'll be sending out a message about something going on. I'm like, golly, man, nobody responding to this. Y'all don't see what's going on. And it's not their fault, because we all
No.
operate wired. We're all wired differently. But
Yes.
I just want to say I appreciate that about you, man. And and I believe
Likewise,
it's how
brother.
people are with
Thank you.
Deion Sanders. It's the same thing. You can
Yes.
tell, you can see that the man is sincere. You can
Right.
see that obviously Deion. What do we know about Deion? He's always been a confident dude. The man sat up there and let you. I mean, when he came into the NFL with his jewelry and his Jerry curl and everything else. I mean, come on, man. Like he said, what would make you think that I'm gonna come in here and be any different now?
It wasn't an act.
No,
It wasn't
that's
an
who he
act.
is. That's who he
Right.
is.
That wasn't an act, man. And I think again, Don, when people,
Got to tiptoe because it makes you uncomfortable.
yeah, man, but when people lack what you present yourself as having a bunch of, that's where the problem comes in, man. You know what I mean? Instead of admiration, it's hateration. Let's face it, man.
Big
You
time.
know what I mean? Because I admire confident people, man. I don't like cocky people.
Hmm.
I like cocky people in certain arenas. So, like I said, if you're a boxer, if you're a Muhammad Ali, if you're this, I love that. That's cockiness. That's bravado. That I can go with. But in our world, dude, I love to see somebody come in a room and dude, I'm just like, ooh, you know what I mean? It's an
Right.
aura about them. They come in and it's not cocky, it's just an absolute air of, yo, I belong here.
That's
I
right.
belong here. So Deion Sanders came into the NCAA described as what I just said. I belong here, y'all. I belong here. Y'all want me to fail. And Deion is brilliant. Deion is the king troll. He is the king troll because Dion is smart enough to never answer his haters with anything negative. You know what I mean? He's smart,
Absolutely.
man.
Oh yeah,
He's above the fray all the time. He knows how to do that. He is a troll, man. He's a troll because Dion, he's a Florida dude, a ghetto Florida dude.
that's right.
Okay, so he could have came at that dude's neck, but he didn't. Because first and foremost, his team is successful 2-0. I don't give a shit. They already doubled their wins from last year. So it's already a success story. But he lets his team do the talking. And of course, he's going to do some talking because we're talking about Deion Sanders, man. So I support Deion because I had this blind devotion to people who were born the same year. I always have. Every
Hmm.
every sports figure, whoever was born in 1967, I ride with them. That's just one of my things. So if I had gone to college and played college football, I would have been in that graduating class. I would have been in 1989 with Deion Sanders, Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, all those guys. So I always cheered for the guys who were born in 1967. And Deion, I'm about a month and 7 days older than Deion. I think Deion is August 9th or not August 6th or something like that. Can you tell I was a Deion fan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
I think most of us were, and it's the same thing with Muhammad Ali. It was the
Yeah.
same thing, But Dion's not no Ali in terms of like, I don't think he brags
No,
like that. I mean, he's confident, but he's not confident like that. But once
no.
again, that's why people didn't like Ali ultimately, because Ali was so confident in what he was saying, especially back then at a time when black folks, black men in particular, were supposed to be walk with their head down,
Know your
supposed to shuffle
place.
their feet, know your place, like Sonny Liston and Floyd Patterson, God bless the dead, like they was doing. I'm sorry, but it's just reality.
But
And
that
here
was the
come
game.
Ali, here
But
come
you're also talking
Cassius, like
about
letting
dudes
you
who are
know.
mob tied. You're also talking about two boxers that you just mentioned, two black mob tied boxers.
Mm-hmm.
So of course you can't step out of line. On first of all, against organized crime and in the 1950s and 60s being a black man. So when you talk about an Ali who was he was out of this world. You know what I mean? Because he ran his mouth as a black man. You know what I mean? He didn't know he was not Joe Louis because the last great heavyweight champ before Ali came along was who? Joe
Yo, Lewis.
Louis.
Yeah.
And Joe Louis said all the right things. He served in the military. Ali said, I ain't going to the military. Dude, so to be that polarizing a figure and to rise above that is the supreme, that's the ultimate confidence, Don.
Yeah,
And people do
absolutely.
have a problem with it. They really do.
I think
Overall.
for me, the only time that I thought Ali went overboard was attacking Joe Frazier, calling him a gorilla and all
Absolutely.
that. That's when I
Yeah,
thought he overstepped. I
yeah,
was like,
he
come on,
was out
bro.
of line, and he knew he
Yeah,
was out of line, and
absolutely.
he did apologize for that
Mm-hmm.
later on in life because he got caught up, man. We understood they were promoting the fight,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but to have all those people there that didn't look like us, and you pull out a rubber gorilla, and you
Yeah,
first of all, we already know the association with black
absolutely.
people and primates. We don't play that. You know what I'm saying?
And the
And for
crazy
you
thing is
to do it,
he was so pro black. So why would he make no sense? But like you said, he was doing it to promote the fight. So
right? And he got caught up.
got
And he
caught up
got
in it.
caught up. And he said that was one of his biggest regrets because, like I said, when that dude got banned from boxing, he was borrowing money from Joe Frazier
Yeah, absolutely.
to
Shout out
live, to
to
pay his bills.
Philly's own Joe Frazier, left hook man. You know what I mean? We got
Where's
to
he
give
from
Smoking Joe his
originally?
props. It was from South Carolina.
Right, right, yeah, yep, South Carolina, yep. But yeah,
Yeah,
he was
but
a
he's
Philly
Philly
box.
boy
He
though.
is the prototypical Philly boxer,
So Mike,
along with Bad Benny Briscoe.
when Mike does says that, ask me where they was from originally. It's not where you're from, bro. It's where what you're known to be.
Well,
Like
did
kind
you
of
want
like
you want?
like Grover Washington.
Yeah, I mean,
You
because if
want to
you want
always
to
let
look,
people, the world know he's from Buffalo, but you and I know that when people think about Grover Washington, what do they think? They think of Philly, man. So stop it.
and you know
Anybody in the
why?
world
No,
associate him
but
with
you
Buffalo.
know why? One of the greatest reasons people think and associate Grover Cleveland with Philly.
Washington. Grover
No,
Cleveland's the president.
no, I'm saying from Philly. I'm
All
saying
right.
Grover Washington. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
Grover Washington. Um, the Let It Flow song,
Yeah, Dr.
the
J.
song for Dr. J.
Absolutely.
So with him being a Philly resident
East River
and
Drive,
making that
Strawberry
song when
Mansion.
when Doc was doing his thing,
Come
that
on.
kind of cemented him in Philly.
Yeah.
But I have relatives who ran track with him at Emerson High School here in Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean you can holler Philly all you. I'm cool with that. I'm fine. I'll let you borrow Grover. But like I said, man, he from the low.
Rough buff.
He from the low.
I
We
hear
don't
you.
call it rough buff. We call it the low.
Well, I would say rough buff because there was a brother in the comments last week that put that in there. So one of your peoples, I believe.
What? Yeah, well, they're a little behind because I call it the low.
The low. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with it. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
finish up
So
with this, man. Let's get some NFL
yes.
talk in real quick.
Hmm.
I will talk about my 2-0 Philadelphia Eagles to start it off. Not looking as sharp as I would like us to look like. Jalen Hurts a little bit, I think what's going on with the Eagles is that First of all, we got a new offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson. And I really want the man to succeed. I truly do. But man, they had the pitchforks out for this dude last night. I'm gonna tell you what. And I think the reason is because
Can't blame him.
he keeps running these go routes, go route, go route, go routes. We understand that they're gonna blitz Jalen Hurts now because they don't want him to sit back in the pocket and pick him apart. Okay, we understand that. So what they're doing is they're basically going to they're dropping 3 back, they're dropping 4 back in the secondary to take away the deep pass. So the Eagles had the proper response finally in the second quarter when they decided to run DeAndre Swift, and he ran for 170 yards and a touchdown. Okay, that's how you're supposed to respond when the defense decides they're going to play basically a prevent defense. However, the issue was them not getting the ball to AJ Brown. When you got a guy like AJ Brown, you have to get him the ball, and I'm sure that's what AJ Brown was saying to he was saying to him on the sideline. He's like, listen, I understand they playing this coverage, but at the same time, we can also respond as well. The good coaches, the great coaches, the all-time coaches, they don't allow a defense to dictate
the game.
To dictate the game. We're going to dictate to you what you do. So the Eagles basically didn't do that. Now they called him a couple times with some deep shots to Devontae Smith. Great job, but I think that if I got a guy like AJ Brown, if it were me calling the plays, offensive coordinator wise, and I see that they're dropping everybody back, well then I'm just gonna have him cut off his route.
I'm throwing underneath, man. The
all
dude
day
is
long.
6'2", 220 pounds. He doing slants until y'all gotta come up.
And what's he gonna do when he catches the ball?
Oh, he can't. We're running by everybody. He's gonna run through tackles. You're running by everybody. The whole shot.
Bingo.
Why are you not? Listen, dude. It infuriates me.
Common sense.
I am for the party people out there. I drafted AJ Brown as my first wide receiver. Second, I got my son, Amon-Ra St. Brown first, but I drafted AJ Brown. I'm disgusted by this because listen, we had a text group earlier and they were talking about how Philly is now running. Listen, Philly, they can run the ball. But when you have Secretariat, you run Secretariat. You don't put a plow on Secretariat.
That's right.
Okay? So Devonta Smith, he's doing what he does. He's doing what he does. So it's still working for him. But you're talking about a dude of AJ Brown's physical stature, his play-making ability. Listen, I hit this dude with 5-yard slants all day until y'all come up. Until y'all come up. Because eventually he gonna run past all of y'all.
And to even speak on what you're saying, last week against the Patriots, it was a key 4th and 2 for the game with the game on the line. Now, if I'm going to do what you just said, I would run AJ across the middle because he's big and strong and powerful. Yeah. But they ran Devontae, who's like $160, and I love Devontae, but come on, you don't run.
He's not a slant pattern dude. He ain't a slant pattern dude.
And the guy basically, grabbed onto him a little bit, basically threw him off his route, and it was like pass. But if that's AJ Brown, he powering through that dude. He's catching that ball game.
He's not impeding any progress at all. Slant, he's going in. No biggie. Yeah, so absolutely. I don't have a problem with, like you said, an offense dictating to the defense. So a team who is traditionally a run team who can throw, that's Philly. For you to just pound that, right? You did exactly what it's supposed to do. If they're gonna play prevent, run up their ass.
Right
now, eventually they moved everybody up. Where's AJ Brown then? Where's AJ Brown?
Right.
Where's AJ Brown?
I think
they moved everybody up.
I think what happened is they got caught up in not getting Dallas Goedert the ball, so they forced the ball to him, in my opinion, too much. They forced the ball
because of the first game.
Because they didn't give him nothing in that game. So see, they're telegraphing everything that they're doing. If I'm a defensive coordinator and I know Dallas Goedert didn't get anything in the first game, my alarm bell is going to ring up, and I'm saying, okay, they're going to go to him this game, so we got to really focus on him. And guess what? They did. Every time he caught the ball, 2 and 3 people were around.
They were gang tackling him every time he got the ball.
The OC's got to be able to be smart enough to bounce. You got to be fluid as an offensive coordinator. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're seeing. I don't care what anybody out there says. This stuff ain't rocket science. We can look at the game and see what's going on. All right, they're in a position, and God bless them for having a job. But let me tell you what, buddy, I see it too. I see what y'all see. And to me, y'all not taking advantage of the talent that we have on this team is ridiculous. Now, let me get on to the defense real quick. The defense, I think, is doing a fine job. The D-line is showing out. The Georgia boys is killing. They eating up. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, my man Josh Sweat on the end, killing it. I don't know where Hassan Reddick is. He needs to show up. Fletcher Cox is killing. So the D line ball is eating up. What's killing the Eagles right now is our linebackers and
And
our
you got
safeties.
injuries back there too. Now you got injuries back there.
Oh yeah, we got three of the four in the defensive secondary are out. So hopefully our GM makes some moves. He's gonna have to. The issue is our linebacker. There is no respect for linebackers in the NFL no more. It's crazy to me. But the good teams have good linebackers.
Yeah.
San Francisco got Fred Warner because they know. Guess what? You got to have some good linebackers. Does Buffalo got? I don't know.
No, we got Matt Milano, who's an athletic linebacker, but I wouldn't.
Okay.
No. I mean, I like Matt Milano. Matt Milano is solid. Let's just keep it like that.
Okay.
He made a Pro Bowl or two because we know that, you know how that goes. But nonetheless,
But they're not getting beat across the middle, so they got to have something. I don't know what Sean McDermott's doing, but he got to be doing something, calling some kind of plays because I didn't see them getting killed across the middle by the Jets.
I think
But what are they doing
well, I think they went to more press coverage.
in the
Honestly,
middle?
no, on the ends. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
that way, yeah, on the end. You know, we talking about the Tre'Davious and I want to say Dane Jackson. So I think they did go more press against the Jets. You know, because you got Gary. I mean, Wilson is who he is. I mean, he's a phenomenal young receiver.
Okay.
And I don't even know who the Jets are. Who's the Jets' other receiver?
Dude, don't get me the line.
There you go. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah.
The only one I know
don't
that
know. So
really did
going back
anything
to the
is
Eagles,
Wilson.
man. I'll get on the Bills. Going back to the Eagles real quick.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. So just finishing up with the defense, you know, the linebackers and safeties, if we don't get that covered, we're done. Because I'm looking at the 49ers and they're immaculate on defense. I mean, they just got it. They can beat you on all three levels. They can beat
They're
you on the D
disgusting.
line. They can beat you
Them
with
and
the
Dallas
linebackers.
are disgusting.
I don't even want to talk about Dallas. I don't even want to focus on Dallas right now because I don't want to hear from them Dallas losers out there. They'll have to listen to if they somehow able to steal a win. So hopefully we get this stuff figured out and get it figured out quickly. Unlike the coordinator on offense, Brian Johnson, the new coordinator for the Eagles, Sean Desai, I think is a great coordinator already. He's already impressed me because one thing I like about him, at least he'll try stuff. You know, he might, if he sees these boys out there getting eaten up, he's going to try some different thing, bring some pressure from different directions. He won't just sit back and let his guys get torched. Now, they were getting torched in this game last night. I have to say, the linebackers had no ability to cover Hawkinson last night at all. And even Justin Jefferson still was able to come away with like 11 catches and 100.
Yeah, 150 something yards, dude.
The boy Jordan Addison had a great game. I mean, there were just certain plays that the Vikings were scoring on where there was literally no one around them. And that's the only thing. That's my biggest gripe about these football guys. How in the heck, as a paid professional football player, can you justify not knowing where to go? There's no justification for that to me. There's no excuse for you to be out on the field and not know where to go in coverage. And if you're that clueless about where to go, you shouldn't be on the field. So
inexcusable.
That's my Eagle talk.
All right, for the Bills, man. Yeah, we suffered a I wouldn't even say heartbreaking loss. I would say a typical divisional loss in the AFC East. Because like I said, even though the talent gap in recent years has been widening with the Bills versus the rest of the division, listen, the New York Jets are just like, you know, San Fran, and the defenses are ridiculous. You know, that Quentin Williams is a disruptor. Okay. Then they have CJ Mosley. Then they got Whitehead and all them dudes in the back. Very solid defense. So barring injury, I think they'll be up there as well. Aaron Rodgers, what happened to him was unfortunate. I'm not one to cry for him. You know, I've never been an Aaron Rodgers fan, and it's nothing against Aaron Rodgers, but you know, as you've watched football, there are certain guys that even if they don't play for your team, you are fans of. Aaron Rodgers, he just really wasn't a guy I was a fan of, and he's great. Nothing against Aaron Rodgers, you understand? But he just didn't appeal to me. It's like a favorite singer or rapper. You know, some rappers or some singers don't appeal to you. Some actors don't appeal to you. That doesn't mean they're not good. You know, Aaron Rodgers is great, but he never appealed to me. So when he went out, you know, it was like, okay, he got hurt, man.
Right.
39 years old. You know, that Achilles was bound to pop. That was the first thing that was supposed to go anyway. So enter Zach Wilson again. Zach Wilson, I think with the setup right now, Don, and I'm gonna get back on the Bills, but I'm talking about the Jets. With the setup that the Jets have in place, if Zach Wilson does not absolutely flame out, they're a playoff team.
I agree.
Brees Hall looks good. They obviously can run block because Brees Hall was on the loose again the other night. Wilson, as he showed on the one touchdown, if you throw it near him, it's a catch. So, uh, like I said, him and Wilson really did have a decent combination last year with Wilson as a rookie with Zach Wilson. When he wasn't absolutely crapping the bed, he did find Garrett Wilson quite a bit. So he's adequate enough with that defense and that run game for the Jets to really be a problem. Miami is Miami. It all is all hinged on Tua. We know that. Um, it seems like the Tyreek and Tua show is back in town, so that looked great. New England, as you can attest to, offensively they may be a little bit behind, but when you have a Bill Belichick, that defense is always going to give you problems. So just imagine that week one with just a step above a Mac Jones. Philly might have been in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
You understand what I'm saying? Because with a Bill Belichick team, they can stink offensively. Defensively, they will never stink. So you have to give them that. Now back to the Buffalo Bills. That loss, like I said, it wasn't heartbreaking because it's a divisional loss, and we all play hard in this AFC East. It's kind of like the NFC East. It's just a slugfest. You know what I mean? Anybody can jump up and bite anybody at any time. Josh Allen was disappointing. Josh was disappointing. Josh was pressing. He made some plays that were reminiscent of the first and second year Josh Allen that I thought he kind of like put to bed. So that's an issue. James Cook, I think, will be featured more on out routes, as far as screens and things like that. Diggs, I didn't like the overfeeding of Diggs. I didn't like that. I think that's a thing where Diggs got in Allen's head, and Allen placated to him. What he had 10 catches or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like that. Gabriel Davis, who I think is a pretty good receiver, he didn't get enough. Kincaid got a few catches. Knox got some. It was just a bad offensive display. I didn't like the play calling by Ken Dorsey. He's still under suspicion. I'm not crazy about him. Defensively, they did well enough. They did well enough. Besides the Brees Hall runs, we don't have a middle linebacker since Tremaine Edmonds left. So if you're talking about a void in our defense, you've seen it on that 83-yard run. He ran right up the middle. You understand what I'm saying? And you run into the teeth of a defense, bro. Your offensive line has done its job, and they don't have any studs in there to stop you. So Buffalo's weakness on defense, when you asked about the linebackers earlier, ironically, that's our weak spot. Milano's the best linebacker out there, but he's no middle linebacker. He's an outside linebacker. Our defensive backs are solid. But all that's predicated on the pass rushing. Leonard Floyd did a great job by putting Aaron Rodgers out. But Floyd is still a good pass rusher. So as far as him filling in for Von Miller, fine. When Von Miller comes back, just put Floyd on the other side. Now we got a double whammy. So I think that would kind of help the deficiency in the linebacking core.
And the thing, just to add on about Buffalo, what I noticed is I was just like, there's no way they should have lost that game. If Josh Allen just plays like a non-reckless game, it win the game. It just would have been a basic slobber knocker type of game. They might have probably won 13-3, whatever, 13,
there
whatever the case may be.
There you go.
But he just kept taking these ridiculous throws. Like, what is he doing, dude? What are you doing? Why are you doing that?
The bombs were ridiculous. Huh? The bombs were ridiculous. Yeah, the bombs were so ridiculous, the defensive back became the receiver. Yeah, he threw it over the receiver and the defensive back who was in back of the receiver. So if a defensive back is in back of a receiver and there's one in front, that's called double coverage. Why in the hell would you chuck it down there?
Yeah, it made no sense. They were just that DB was just waiting. That DB, it's not like we're talking about prime time back here either. I mean, the guy was good, but really they were well coached and they were in the right position. So that's why he dropped back in the right coverage.
He played center fielder on both of those two long interceptions. Now he did make a legit interception on the sideline. So 1 out of the 3 he earned. You know what I mean? The other 2 were gifts. So this dude is already leading interceptions some dude we never even heard of is leading the league in interceptions by himself. 3 interceptions in one game.
Don't know who he is. I don't know. Still to this day, I don't know who the man is.
Whitehead. I don't know who that dude is.
Yeah, we don't know who he is.
Yeah, I know Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner is the only dude I know in that defensive backfield.
Yeah. And you talking about Whitehead, I'm looking for McFadden. I mean, come on, man. So I'm not, come on, bro. McFadden and Whitehead out here getting 3 picks a game now. Come on, man. Right. It don't even make no sense.
It was sad,
no
man.
Sense.
But we have the Raiders are coming to town.
That should be a good one.
Yeah, the Bills Mafia is in effect, man. I believe the energy of Highmark Stadium will definitely have the Bills super hype. I think Josh is going to bring it down a peg. And what I'm hoping is that they kind of take the ball out of his hands just a bit. You know what I mean? So incorporate James Cook some more, not only because he's my fantasy football tailback, but he showed potential in that Jets game that he's a game breaker.
Absolutely.
You know, so you have to get him that ball on the outside. And I think this is a good time to experiment against the Raiders, man. So no offense, Brother Hansy, but I think they are going to break a foot off in the Raiders' ass this Sunday.
Yeah. I would have to predict that to be a win as well. So just touching back, though, on the Eagles, one thing I didn't mention is that they allowed 2 quarterbacks to pass for over 300 yards. So that's 2 quarterbacks in 2 games, well over 300 yards. And I believe both quarterbacks passed for 3 touchdowns. In fact, I know they did. So that's 600 and some odd yards. Plus,
it's a good defense.
Touchdowns.
Against a good defense.
Against a good defense, but a depleted defense. We got to, we got to say that as well. They're a little depleted, but I think the reality is that Howie Roseman, general manager for the Eagles, smart guy, but his devaluation of linebackers is not a good thing, and his devaluation of safeties is killing us, and it could possibly kill the team. When I look at San Francisco, when I look at Dallas, who are loaded on defense, so on offense, they're good on offense, but they're defensive teams. That lets me know that we got some work to do. So that's it, my brother. I think we had a good one here.
Yeah, man. I'll go with it, man. I think we had a good show. I think we covered a lot, man. And hey, man, love to spend this Friday with you, homie.
I'm digging it. I'm vibing. Yes, sir.
All right. So, for my man Don, this is the Underway Podcast. We've had a great time. Thank you for joining us. Again, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell. So every time we drop one, you're notified.
That's right.
All right. So we're going to do the slogan. Don, I give you the honors.
Love you. Can't get enough of you. See you on the other side.
Peace and love, y'all.